and welcome to All About Community. Again, my name is Robert L. Harris, and I am your host. When we went to break, I told you that my next guest would be the legendary John L. Burris, civil rights attorney right here in the city of Oakland. John, welcome to All About Community.
Good to be with you. I think I've been here a few times.
You have been here a few times, and each time it has been just delightful to talk to a legend. A legend in his own time.
Or my own mind.
And we go back some 50 years or so. Back when I was just a little boy.
And I was a toddler.
But let's talk for a moment, John, about your background. You grew up in the city of Vallejo.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a moment.
Well, I grew up in the city of Vallejo. I'm one of 6 kids. My family, our mother and father both migrated, Western migration to Vallejo from Oklahoma. They're both from one part of Oklahoma, another from the other part, and they met here. And they were, basic blue-collar family that we had, government worker family. We grew up in a large neighborhood with cousins and friends. Everybody had a job. We didn't have any split families. There was mother and father in every household. And mother and dad worked. Sometimes the mother would work, but that was our school. It was kind of segregated to some extent. But you may not know this, Robert, but for whatever reasons, in the first grade, I was transferred from a school that was predominantly black to a school that was all white.
Why did that happen?
I have no idea.
You had no idea.
And I was a first grader, and all the kids in my neighborhood on all sides of our house all went to one school, and every morning I would go in the opposite direction to another school.
And you never knew why?
It may have been testing questions. I got to think it was more testing in kindergarten, and thought that I probably would benefit from it. So I went, and then later my sister joined me. But that was for 3 years.
And then what?
And so then I came back to the school. That school only went up to the 4th grade. So I came back to the black school. Then we moved, and I went to another school that was predominantly white. And so I was acclimated with white kids for a good portion of my early childhood education.
So you learned early about integration.
Totally. I learned, I didn't know it was integration, but I come to appreciate it. Certainly as we go, I played sports. I was on these kind of all-white teams, and I could see the difference in terms of how the black kids were treated versus how our team was treated. I played baseball on all-white teams, and we always beat everyone. And the difference you could see is that our teams had quality coaches and supplies. We got the best fields, we got the best time to play our games, and it was very competitive. So that taught me a lot. Ultimately, I went to high school and became a basketball
So which
player.
high school did you go to?
Vallejo Senior High.
Vallejo.
I became a basketball player there, and wasn't first string, played 6-man kind of thing. But anyway, that was an experience. It was kind of an all-black team with one white guy.
And how did you end up at Golden Gate University?
Well, I went to community college.
Okay, where'd you go to community college?
Solano College, which is called...
For 2 years?
For 2 years. It was called Vallejo Community College then. In fact, I just received the Alumnus of the Year award from them.
Congratulations.
Last year. But what happened is that I was doing accounting work at the college, and so I was told at the time that the best accounting school in the Bay Area was Golden Gate. And so that's how I went, even though I'd been accepted to some other schools. San Francisco State was one, Long Beach, and things of that nature. But I was told at the time that accounting was best taught at this school, and it turned out to be a very good move for me, because from there I got a job with one of the top CPA law firms. I was the first black kid hired in a CPA firm in California. That then sort of buttressed me to get to Berkeley Business School. I was at the business school there at Berkeley, and then ultimately, but because of your instigation and all that, ultimately went to law school. You probably don't remember that, but
I remember that. Because you were a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, the greatest fraternity in the world.
Yeah, I was. And I am.
And you still are.
Yeah, right. So that's on my journey. I did all kinds of jobs, working my way through college. You know, an amazing job. I did a lot of janitorial work, did a lot of picking fruits during the early days. I had jobs where you had to get up at 3:30 in the morning to go open envelopes.
Oh, you trying to make it seem as though you had it tough, man. You had a silver spoon in your house, in your mouth. You never had to go out in the hot cotton fields and pick cotton all day.
I was in the prune fields, and that was hot. You know, the fruits. There's no field that's enjoyable. But I also learned from all of that I was never going to let anybody tell me what to do. It was very important.
What do you mean by that?
I wasn't going to have any jobs. I was not going to have any jobs. And so it was also important for me not to have a job where there's a boss over me. And I did the first few years that, but I was always working my way to the point where I could take care of my own life and be responsible for everything about it. And that ultimately happened. After I had I spent some years in Chicago in a big firm, years in Chicago at the state's attorney's office, ultimately Alameda County DA's office. But once I was done with that, I was ready to go into private practice. And at that time, as you may know, I went into private practice with two of our fraternity brothers, Elliot Harris, former mayor of Oakland, and Dave Alexander, the poor attorney in Oakland. And so we had a wonderful time. We were brothers, frat brothers.
We
had a great time. But, you know, after 4 or 5 years, I became restless.
Yeah, and we're going to have to go to break, but when we come back, let's talk about, because I don't want to forget, getting a little old, can't remember, but the new law firm that you just started here in Oakland, don't touch that remote, put it down. We will be right back with All About Community. Again, my name is Robert L. Harris. I am your host, and my guest is John L. Burris, civil rights attorney, legendary. We will be right back.